Hey guys, Bert here. So, new video today. We're going to be talking about Project 19. Now, obviously, what is Project 19? Well, Project 19 is a tabletop role-playing game that someone introduced me to a couple months back, and I've been batting around the idea of how to exactly to use it. Now, it was started off as just a bit of a Facebook post that someone had made, and they had made some pictures and a general description of how it plays. And here's how it goes, basically. You use action figures, model kits, anything you really want, and you can play with anything else that is similar to that on a set tabletop. Each piece has an attack, a defense, a movement speed, and use dice. So it's a lot like D&D or Warhammer, which is actually what we're going to be branching this off of a lot, especially for stats. Um, I was down at the local game shop and saw some people playing Warhammer, and it caught my eye. Now, the only thing I have to say about Warhammer, and I'm sure some of you who know this, is Warhammer is extremely expensive to play for the average individual like, me. I'm a young guy. I've got student loans, I've got bills. It's not a game where you can really get into just because it costs so much money. The average small piece, if you hear this, by the way, there's another storm going on outside. I seem to only ever make videos when it's storming and my house is about to blow away. The point is, um, Warhammer costs a lot of money. I've seen the average kit can run from, a cheap kit runs from $30, and I've seen kits go from $400 to $1,000 to $1,500 for an unpainted kit. And then painted kits can run anywhere from $3 to $4 to $10,000 even. I've seen some of the really monstrous ones that stand like 4 feet tall that are homemade. The prices are absolutely enormous, and it's just ridiculous. And for the average person who would want to play the game, it's just not realistic, or you're not able to get into it, and that makes it really difficult. However, Project 19 is an answer, I think, for that. So in essence, what you do is you take figures from anything you have and you use them to play with anything else you have. I mean, obviously using Barbie dolls and GI Joes is probably not exactly the greatest way to go about it, because it kind of takes away from the whole really cool allure of a lot of the stuff. But hey, if you want to use that kind of stuff, more power to you. Me, I won't use anything that Games Workshop has, mainly because if you 3D print anything that is from Warhammer, they'll sue the crap out of you, and I don't feel like dealing with those, morons. So what I did is I started 3D printing Mech Warrior, because I love Mech Warrior. I'm an old school Mech Warrior junkie. I played the crap out of the first two games, and I love it. Right here I have a simple Marauder from Mech Warrior Online, and it's a really cool little model. I painted it up and gave it some detail and made it look like it's battle scarred, and it's got, a lot of wear on it. But, it's a really cool little figure. And this would be equivalent to in Warhammer like a Centurion. It's just a standard, infantry, or heavy infantry piece. It's got, really good stats, but it's not like the big kahuna. It's not the big, really the Annihilator class, Titan that, stands, 1,100 meters tall, and if you were to go by the lore. But it's a piece you can play with, and you can use anything you want, really. When I played my first game, I played 3 people, and I just used some of my old Gundam action figures, actually the Gundam Fix models, which are like the little bit nicer ones that I usually keep in my glass case over here. I took those in and I played with those just to get a feel for it for Warhammer. We gave it standard stats and Warhammer stats, and it was actually really cool to play with, because these kids had only ever played Warhammer, but they hadn't played anything like Project 19 because it was just different. You're always looking at the same stuff with Warhammer oftentimes too. However, playing with anything and everything that you can bring in is a really cool idea. So you might be into Power Rangers, you might be into Transformers, Mech Warrior, Zoids. It doesn't matter. You can bring in anything you want, and get together with people and play on a standard bed, or game platform, a tabletop. You can have environments or anything you want. You can all play together. And for me, that's awesome. I love whenever you can get a whole bunch of people together who have different interests but have a solid interest in one thing, and you can bond people together by that. That's so cool, and I love it so much. So what we started doing here at Pixel Armory is we started 3D printing our own, if you want to call it Warhammer or Project 19 Army. I'm not going to call it really the Warhammer Army, because Warhammer is not really related to any of this stuff at all, because I'm pulling from a whole bunch of different facets. So here I have the Paris class UNSC frigate from Halo. So this would be like, a command ship, that you would use this at the back of the back of the map, it's taking pot shots, obviously, because the damn thing, the whole ship is literally a railgun with a ton of missile pods. So you'd have this at the back, it'd be really slow, it'd have massive firepower and long range, but it wouldn't be moving as much. And that's just because you want to give everything kind of equal footing. You don't want to have be a pay to win. You want to just be there to have fun. And that's what we want to do. We want to have fun. Having fun's the most important thing. You don't want to be that douchebag that shows up who's got more money to blow because he lives at home and he, doesn't spend his money on anything but, the most expensive stuff so he can beat the other people. That's not the idea for this. Project 19 is based solely so that can't happen. It's for people who want to get together, who want to have a lot of fun, and that's what we're going for. And I showed you the Marauder. I have a really large older mech warrior here. I forget what this guy is called. I actually have an itty bitty one right here that I 3D printed as well, just to kind of get an idea for the geometry of it. This took like 8 hours to make. It's not bad. I printed it at 300 microns. Came out really well. I'm going to give it detailing and make it look, battle torn. I have a whole bunch of other Marauders that are here in, pieces that I'll have to, I know it looks like just a whole bunch of white crap, but it'll get cleaned up and, go from there. I have Mech Warrior Elemental suits. These would be kind of like your Warhammer Space Marines, and you just put these on the ground and you use them, and the detail on them is actually really good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them in an acetone bath, and it'll clean up a lot of the rough edges, and that way so when I paint it, it'll come out a lot nicer. But that's the thing. I'm using stuff from Halo, Mech Warrior, all the different generations of Mech Warrior. I've even got a couple of my Gundam Fix figures I'm going to take in. And it's just to have a lot of really cool and interesting stuff on the table when you play it. Make it interesting. And I'd like to see a lot more people learning how to play a game like this. Unfortunately, the instructions for Project 19 are a little bit, I should say, gray area. Because it's really left to open to interpretation. It really is. Now, don't expect to go in there. If you have an old school Metroplex Transformer, don't expect to go in there and be able to wipe the floor with absolutely everybody's army just because of, the fact that Metroplex is, like 6.5 miles tall in, the actual game, and you're fighting against a whole bunch of foot soldiers. You're not going to be able to wipe them out. Something very big may have a lot of firepower, but it's also going to be very slow. And it's going to be vulnerable because of that. And you have to use, use logic and common sense. Don't be the dick in the room. Let that be somebody else's job, because then, they can get all the bad attention. You don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be that guy. There's always that guy. Don't be that guy. That's all I'm trying to tell you. I was playing with some people last week, and there was that guy in the room, and everyone looked at him like this guy was the biggest asshole, because he kind of was. And you know what? Just don't be that guy. That's all I'm telling you. Don't be that guy. Go there to have fun. Bring some sodas, some chips, sit down, have some fun, roll some dice, have a good conversation, and just go from there. So, let's recap. Project 19, really cool game. You get to use pretty much anything you want from any genre, any storyline you want, anything. You want to walk in there with Ken and Barbie, be my guest. People might look at you a little funny, especially when you're using Warhammer stuff, but hey, that's what you want to do. Be my guest. I'm going to keep making my Mech Warrior army just because I love Mech Warrior and I like Halo and I love Gundam, and I'm going to go that way. And hopefully in the future here, maybe we can do a get-together with some of you fans and we can, do a really cool Project 19 battle or something like that. Or we may end up posting the video that goes up, of the battle that we're doing this Saturday down at the local mall at the Warhammer shop. And, go from there, and we may post that. So who knows? It really depends on the shop owner if he's willing to let us do that. But nonetheless, just a quick update. My time is just about out here because I've got a conference call coming in. So until next time, guys, I'm Bert from Pixel Armory. I am still working on the Praetor suit helmet. It's proving to be a bit more difficult to get the geometry to work just right. And, we're going from there. I actually just printed the Hellfire shotgun, just a mini version of it for... someone has a young kid who likes to play Overwatch a lot, and I think he's 6 or 7, and he likes to play as Reaper. So I 3D printed a cool little Hellfire shotgun, since for him this would be like really big. For me, this is absolutely tiny. But I just thought it'd be a cool little thing. But yeah, it's a Hellfire shotgun. I think this thing's actually pretty neat. This was made by Kirby Donnelly from My Mini Factory. And yeah, it's really cool. I like this thing. I mean, it's almost like like Batman's grappling gun for my hand. But anyway, point is, we're always working on new cool projects. If you want to work with us on something, feel free to reach out to us. Pixelarmory@gmail.com. We'll get back to you within a couple hours. Usually, we're pretty much attached to our email and that because of work. So until next time, guys, I'm Bert from Pixel Armory, and I'll see you guys soon.